that I can see that's encouraging because sometimes you need all the time you need something to get you through the day. You know what I'm saying? Some people use cigarettes. Some people use all kind of things. But that verse that you gave is like hope for the day. All right, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom, Saint. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Thank you for bearing with us here. We straightening out some things, little technical issues. Now we're technically correct. And so we're getting ready to begin in the book of Deuteronomy. We're going to Deuteronomy chapter 21, starting at verse 10. After we open up in prayer.
Okay. I'll start this off now. Most High Elohim, the Elohim of Abraham, Isaac, and Yaakov, we bless you and we told you, O Elohim, for this holy Shabbat Yom. We told you, Father, for waking us up this Yom and blessing us with the gift of life. We told you that we have the parts of our body and our mind. We have functionality there. We told you that we are able to read, oh Yah. And we told you, Father, for this opportunity that you have blessed us with to be in your house, to fellowship, to study from your truth. And we pray, Father, that as we go through this review and this study, that you will give us the spirit of understanding and that you will send forth your Ruach HaKodesh to lead us and to guide us into all truth and teach us how to take what we learn and apply it to our hearts, oh Yah. Apply it in our lives, oh Yah. And that we will also take this word and hide it in our hearts, oh Yah, so that we won't sin against you. We love you and we praise you. In the mighty name of your son, Yahshua B'Shikach, we pray. Amen.
Amen. Torah. Praise Yah. All right. We are in the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 21. What's this portion called, Minister Yosef? You got it?
I know it means when you go out. Let me.
Katetse.
Katetse, which means when you go out.
When you go out. When you go forth. So we're continuing in the book of Deuteronomy, the last portion. We were learning about judgment and how the nation was set up with judges and officials and putting order to things. And so now we're going into more righteous judgment or statutes. It's a lot of instructions, commandments given in this portion. So we're going to start at Deuteronomy chapter 21, verse 10. We're going through the end of chapter 25, okay? All right, it says, when thou goest forth to war against thine enemies, and the Yehovah thy Elohim has delivered them into thine hands, and thou hast taken them captive, and seest among the captives a beautiful woman, and hast a desire unto her, that thou wouldest have her to thy wife, then thou shalt bring her home to thine house, and she shall shave her head, and pare her nails, and she shall put the raiment of her captivity from off her, and shall remain in thine house, and bewail her father and her mother for a full month. And after that thou shalt go in unto her, and be her husband, and she shall be thy wife. And it shall be, if thou have no delight in her, then thou shalt let her go whither she will. But thou shalt not sell her at all for money. Thou shalt not make merchandise of her, because thou hast humbled her. You got anything there, Mr. Jose?
In verse 11, just going back, I know that we've been talking about Yah establishing a holy nation and so forth, and how one of the components of a nation, it includes people, anybody can join and become a part of a nation. Just when they took these, it says that women captive, that's further evidence that these women were not a part of the nation. They were outside of the nation. But here, once they took them and became their wife or whatever, they became a part of the nation. So it's just something that just showed that others can join in and become a part of the nation. It's just further evidence. That's all I wanted to highlight.
Okay. Something I see here too, because I know the natural mind, or maybe even the spiritual mind, but certainly the natural mind would say, well, it's a couple of things here. First of all, we were talking about, no, Elder was talking about it, both of the elders, Elder Nathan, Elder Al. There's a common belief out here that in the so-called Old Testament that the children of Israel was called to be, pure, only deal with those in a nation, and it was a sin to have, outside wives, so to speak. And that's what Minister Yosef just spoke about. That it was always a mixed multitude, and a lot of the wives, even other leaders, were from other nation, other people groups. Um, but this seems kind of like when it says, if you when you go to war and you see a woman that you like and you think that she's beautiful and you want her, then you can have her, you take her, and then she goes through this process where she shave her head, pair her nails, mourn for her family that's being left. Her family very well could be dead. That's why I say bewail her. She more than likely lost her family in the war, or some of her family, right? And then you go into her and be her husband, and she be your wife. But then if you find out you don't have no delight in her, then you can let her go and go on. So now this is kind of participating in y'all's permissive will right here. This is not the instructions that Yah would have you do the way he would have you conduct yourselves, but Yah's dealing with what he knows, how he know what's in the hearts of people. So he already know, okay, y'all gonna go to war, y'all gonna see these women. Let me show y'all a merciful way where you could still be not outside the covenant. Because if I let you do these things on your own, you're gonna desecrate everything. But I know that when y'all go here, y'all gonna see these women and be like, man, let me scrape these women. And then you just went in and got the woman. Now you had her because you really succumbed to your flesh, and now you see something you don't like, and you just gonna put her away. And the reason that I know, so I'm gonna go to Deuteronomy chapter 4 real quick to elucidate this point. I'm going to Deuteronomy chapter 4, and I'm going to verse 25. Now, this is Moshe talking, of course, to the children of Israel. Deuteronomy 4 and 25. When you shall beget children and children's children, and you shall have remained long in the land, and shall corrupt yourselves, and make a graven image, or the likeness of anything, and shall do evil in the sight of the Yahweh your Elohim, to provoke him to anger, call heaven and earth to witness against you this day, that you shall soon utterly perish from off the land, whereuntil you go over Jordan to possess it. You shall not prolong your days upon it, but shall utterly be destroyed. And the Yahweh shall scatter you among the nations, and you shall be left few in number among the heathen, whither the Yahweh shall lead you. And there you shall serve gods, the work of men's hands, wood and stone, which neither see, nor hear, nor eat, nor smell. So now get the understanding of this. This is a prophecy, right? This Moses saying, he don't say if y'all don't follow. He said when y'all go into the land, this is what you're going to do. Even though it might seem facetious, he's telling them laws, statutes, and commandments to avoid this very thing. But in the midst of him telling him to avoid these things and giving them instructions on how to avoid it, he's saying, though I'm telling you these things, I still know what you're going to do. When you get in the land, you're going to still serve other gods and do all these things. And so that's why I say when we relating back to the portion that we just went, when he gave them instructions on when y'all go to war, he already know what they're going to do. Y'all going to go to war against the enemies. Y'all going to see these women. Y'all going to want these women. And so I'm going to give you instructions on how to do it, because you're going to do it anyway, so that you don't desecrate yourself, desecrate the nation, desecrate the land, because you know what's going to happen. Lest anyone think that this is how y'all get down, so on and so forth. And we had a something called this is Yah's mercy and something within his permissive will. You know what I'm saying? But it's not his perfect will. You see what I'm saying, Minister Yosef? Okay, so people think, because you could take this and be like, oh, I could just give me a woman and I'll see some uncleanness or something like that, and I'll just put her away. And then, so no, that's not Yah's perfect will. Okay. Questions, comments, or questions? No, no. All right, we in
I was gonna say,
okay.
like he said, Yah has a permissive will, but he has a formality for everything. So we got to remember Yah's formality. If he's permitting something, it's gonna be laid out on how it should be done. Um, So we got to keep that in mind as well, so we can know the context of anything that we do when it comes to ill.
Deuteronomy 21, chapter 21, verse 15. If a man have two wives, one beloved and another hated, and they have borne him children, both the beloved and the hated, and if the firstborn son be hers that was hated, then it shall be when he maketh his sons to inherit that which he has, that he may not make the son of the beloved firstborn before the son of the hated, which is indeed the firstborn. But he shall acknowledge the son of the hated for the firstborn by giving him a double portion of all that he has, for he is the beginning of his strength. The right of the firstborn is his. If a man have a stubborn and rebellious son, which will not obey the voice of his father or the voice of his mother, and that when they have chastened him will not hearken unto them, then shall his father and his mother lay hold on him and bring him out unto the elders of his city and unto the gate of his place. And they shall say unto the elders of his city, this our son is stubborn and rebellious. He will not obey our voice. He is a glutton and a drunkard. And all the men of his city shall stone him with stones, that he die. So shall thou put evil away from among you, and all Israel shall hear and fear. You got anything there, Ms. Jose?
Yeah. One of the things I see is how, yeah, how during these times the nation helped with raising the children. It wasn't just, you know, the mother and father, of course, had the responsibility of training and raising that child up and so forth in the ways of El and, for life. But right here, you see that when this child got out of hand and was completely rebelling, how both the mother and the father turned that child over to the church to let the elders and so forth deal with them. And in today's mindset, it's like, okay, let the father do it, or just the mother and father. But here it was showing that if it went beyond the reach of the mother and the father and they couldn't control it, they had the church had to get involved. And that's something that real important for us to really kind of like think about, because we as a nation as a whole, this is Yah's will, because we may not have all the answers on how to deal with that situation with our child, and others may have more experience with dealing with it, but it was the nation that gave assistance with it. So that's something that I think that we gotta keep in mind when we dealing with our own children as well. And I mean, can't be afraid to to discipline them, but and also get reinforcement if we need it.
Okay. Verse 22. And if a man have committed a sin worthy of death, and he be to be put to death, and thou hang him on a tree, his body shall not remain all night upon the tree, but thou shalt in any wise bury him that day. For he that is hanged is accursed of El, that thy land be not defiled, which the Jehovah thy Elohim giveth thee for an inheritance. This Bible verse reminds me, obviously, this Mashika, which says anyone that's hanging on the tree is accursed of El. And we know that Mashika was a euphemism, hung on a tree. I think Paul referred to this in a couple of places. One, I believe, is Galatians chapter 3. So, Mashika was without sin, but he became a curse for us, right? And he was hung on a tree, and they came to take his body down. But he says, his body shall not remain all night upon the tree, which he didn't, but thou shalt in any wise bury him that day, for he that is hanged is accursed of Elohim. So I know Paul referred to this. In 1 Timothy, I believe in Galatians chapter 3 also, he referred to Mashika being cursed or becoming a curse for us hanging on the tree. And this is where that statue comes from, that anyone that's hung on the tree is a curse to Elohim. Thou, chapter 22, thou shalt not see thy brother's ox or his sheep go astray, and hide thyself from them. Thou shalt in any case bring them again unto thy brother. And if thy brother be not nigh unto thee, if thou know him not, then you shall bring it unto thine own house, and it shall be with thee until thy brother seek after it, and thou shalt restore it to him again. In like manner shall you do with his ass, and so shall you do with his raiment, and with all lost things of thy brothers which he has lost. And you have found, shall you do likewise. You mayest not hide thyself. Thou shalt not see thy brother's ass or his ox fall down by the way, and hide thyself from them. Thou shalt surely help him to lift them up again. So this is this is teaching us a deep lesson on how we deal with our brothers and our sisters. So you see, it says, if you see your brother's ox or his sheep going astray and it's loose, and you know that it's his, you're not supposed to be like, oh, that's Minister Yosef's sheep, I wonder what's going on. No, you're supposed to take hold of that sheep and bring it back to your brother, right? And it says, if he be not close to you, or if you know him not. Now, mind you, it's calling somebody your brother that you don't know. So just by virtue of y'all being in the same community of the same spiritual lineage, that's your brother. It says, even if you don't know him. So you know it's not yours, but you see it stray, like seeing a stray dog like we see. But this is our community, right? And everybody in here is on the same page. Oh, that's somebody's dog right there. Somebody probably looking for that dog. I don't know who it is. Let me take that dog into my house and wait, because somebody's surely going to come looking for it. And it says, you shall bring it into your own house, and it shall be with you until your brother seek after it, and you shall restore it to him again. And it says, you should do it with his ass, and you shall do it with his clothing, raiment, and anything that's lost of thy brothers, which he has lost, and thou hast found, shall you do likewise, that you may not hide yourself from your brother. So that's a very righteous principle. And so, it strikes me too, is it's in the literal, it's also in the spiritual. So, it's speaking of salvation, or if you see your brother, your sister that kind of then, lost their way, or, in the spirit, they doing things that's outside the covenant, and that, you doing things that can bring forth a curse upon you, or bring forth the wrath of Yah. You don't hide yourself from your brother or your sister, right? You restore them. If they're going astray, you shall in any case bring them again unto your brother. Remind them like, hey, the covenant says this, the word says this. Then it say, if say you don't have a relationship with that person that close, where you're not comfortable speaking to them, well, you hold that thing. And the way that you hold it, the way that we hold is to make sure that, first of all, we in the covenant. So we live in those things. We doing that which Yah will have us do. And then when that brother or sister that you see going astray, when they may fall and they may come seeking after the thing, then you will have an answer for them to restore them again into the covenant. But the only way you can have a proper answer for them is if we're actually living that thing. If we're living it, then we getting the benefits from it, or getting the lessons from it. Then when a brother and sister come seeking because they lost their way, we'll have that thing that we held for them, you know what I'm saying, to restore them. You want to add something to that, Minister Jose?
No.
Yeah, when it says, for you shall not see your brother's ass or your ox fall down by the way, and hide thyself from them. So you shouldn't see your brother and sister fall off, right? And then you got something that's for them, and then you hide yourself from them. You got a good word for them. You got something that you can help them with, but you're going to hide yourself. Don't hide ourselves from each other. And that's not hiding ourselves, not only from the benefit, it takes vulnerability, but let's not hide ourselves when we're struggling also. When we see somebody that can give us counsel, or we know we need a word, we know we need some help, don't hide ourselves from each other, okay?
I'm gonna add this Exodus chapter 23, starting at verse 3. It's saying the same thing, but on the flip side, it's talking about even our enemy. The same how he read, if we see our brother's ox going astray and we see him falling off, Exodus 23 is saying the same thing, even for one who would be considered our enemy. So that just goes to show you that Yah's desire for us is to imitate him, because that's how he executes his judgment when he's dealing with the righteous and the unrighteous. He's giving everybody a chance. Of course, we're not on the level with El, but this is a standard that he has set for us. So I just wanted to add that Exodus 23 is saying the same exact thing, but it's saying for our enemies. So we got to do it both ways.
Cain, and that's good that you brought that out, Minister Yosef, because the Bible says when we were once Yah's enemies, some of us used to be his enemies, if not all of us. It said when we were yet his enemies, he still brought forth his only begotten son and sacrificed even for his enemies. So we can't say, well, this just for the brothers and sisters. No, this word that we hold in, these righteous laws, statutes, and judgments that we hold in, is for the enemies too. So the enemies can be reconciled unto righteousness, like Yah reconciled us unto himself when we was yet unrighteous. Cain. We in Deuteronomy chapter 22, we starting at verse 1. Or no, we actually in verse 5. Deuteronomy 22:5. The woman shall not wear that which pertaineth unto a man, neither shall a man put on a woman's garment, for all that do so are an abomination unto the Yehovah thy Elohim. Now, this is something we have to take a hold of. It's something that's going deep, but this is something that you don't even play with. And so I remember in the so-called Christian community, it was a rave of a character that they had, and the character was a man dressing up as a woman, and it was a sensation. I mean, this character was touring around the country, and the majority, the core of the fan base of this character was the Christian church. Okay? And so this says that the woman shall not wear which that pertaineth unto a man. Well, it was a man the whole time dressed up as a woman, acting like a woman, this and that. And people who are in the book, so-called, was the one who pushed this thing and had this thing popular, not knowing that's an abomination. You see how foul it is? But then when you bring it to them, well, now that's just, first of all, they don't even know the verse. I was in a barbershop one time, and they was having, they was having a thing, how much money would you take to dress up like a woman for a day? The whole thing, heels, tight dress, skirt, and they had all these different variations. But everybody in there was saying, I just stayed quiet, sitting back. And I didn't say nothing about it. And I'm just listening, observing. And then if they got around to me, I said, bro, I wouldn't take no money for it. I said, that's an abomination. What you talking about? I said, man, that's abomination. That's against Yah. That ain't against Yah. I said, you want me to go get it? Like, show me that. I said, that's in the Bible. That ain't in the Bible. Okay, let me go get it, because people don't know the Bible. I went and got it and showed that to the one brother that was talking, and he got quiet. But every brother to a man said it's an amount of money that I would take to do that thing, which is an abomination to Yah. So this is taken lightly a lot. You know, well, that's just entertainment where they just doing that. No, that's not a plaything to dress up as a woman, dress up as a man, and, you know, for Halloween or for anything, for gain, for money. You know, a man don't imitate no woman, a woman don't imitate no man, okay?
Dang.
Huh? Cain. Verse 6. If a bird's nest chance to be before thee in the way in any tree on the ground, whether they be young ones or eggs, and the dam sitting upon the young, upon the eggs, you shall not take the dam with the young, but you shall in any wise let the dam go and take the young to thee, that it may be well with thee, and that thou mayest prolong thy days. When thou buildest a new house, then thou shalt make a battlement for thy roof, that thou bring not blood upon thy house, if any man fall from thence. You shall not sow thine vineyard with divers seeds, lest the fruit of thy seed which thou hast sown and the fruit of thy vineyard be defiled. You shall not plow with an ox and an ass together. You shall not wear a garment of divers sorts, as of woolen and linen together. You shall make thee fringes upon the four quarters of thy vesture, wherewith thou coverest thyself. You got something else you'll say? All right, so I see some things here. First of all, Look at verse 6 when Yah's talking about if you come upon a bird's nest. This is how sensitive Yah is to all his creation and how loving he is. He giving us instructions on how to deal with the animal kingdom. If you come upon a bird's nest and you see a mother caring for her young and you say, okay, well, I'm going to take some of these eggs, right, and use them for whatever purpose I'm going to use them for, because people eat eggs, people do these or take the young for, even if it's for a sacrifice, so to speak. It said, don't just kill the mother and take the whole thing down. He said, don't do that. Take what you're going to take in mercy and let the mother live. Don't just cut off the whole line. Okay? It says, when it says, make a battlement for thy roof, that just means like pull up a gate around your roof so if somebody on your roof, if they fall, they can be caught. And it's not no blood upon your house, right? And then sowing diverse seeds. When you sowing seeds, like, they got something that's called hybridized fruit. Now, hybridized fruit can occur naturally. If two seeds are found in the same, those seeds will merge. It's almost like they have intercourse, right? They'll merge and produce a different fruit. But it's saying don't do this intentionally, and when it's talking about a vineyard, it's specifically talking about the vineyard is that which produce grapes. So it says in your vineyard, don't sow nothing but grape seeds. Don't put any other seeds in your vineyard. So now you producing a grape and it's all kind of different fruits. I seen white strawberries now and stuff. So they be splicing and manipulating. And I'm not saying it's a sin for us to eat that. I'm not drawing judgment. I'm looking at this right here. It says, don't sow diverse seeds. It says, is this where it says don't have an ox? Did we just read don't have an ox? Yeah, you shall not plow an ox or an ass together. So now plowing an ox and the ass together, if when they they should put yokes on their neck, right? So that they move together in unison. And so now when you have an ox and an ass together, a donkey, you don't do that, because once again, first of all, those are two different type of animals. One is an ox is bigger than a donkey, right? It's much stronger than a donkey, right? So they yoked together, the donkey will probably be getting drugged and the neck getting bent. It's like this. Paul refers to this again. It's a spiritual principle here also. And so, being unequally yoked, right? So it's saying don't be unequally yoked with unbelievers. Well, this is the spirit behind this principle. They're saying don't do it practically, literally, but for us, it's a spirit. Don't be unequally yoked with somebody who's not on a level with you, meaning intimacy, because somebody gonna drag somebody down, somebody gonna slow down your progress, or somebody gonna drag the one where you getting drugged to somewhere you don't want to go, and one's stronger than the other one, and you ain't ready to go there. Now you uncomfortable, you bent, and you don't have a choice. So don't be unequally yoked in intimacy of fellowship with unbelievers, okay? And that's just not saying romantic relationships. That's saying, any kind of fellowship where you intimacy. Intimate just means close relationship of any kind. It could be two men that have an intimate relationship, two women have an intimate relationship. Don't be unequally yoked to somebody, because it could hinder your walk, or you can hinder their walk, okay? Anything on that, Ms. Jose?
No.
All right, we in verse 13. If any man take a wife and go in unto her and hate her and give occasions of speech against her and bring up an evil name upon her and say, I took this woman, and when I came to her, I found her not a maid, then shall the father of the damsel and her mother take and bring forth the tokens of the damsel's virginity unto the elders of the city in the gate. And the damsel's father shall say unto the elders, I gave my daughter unto this man to wife, and he hateth her. And lo, he hath given occasions of speech against her, saying, I found not thy daughter a maid, yet these are the tokens of my daughter's virginity. And they shall spread the cloth before the elders of the city, and the elders of that city shall take that man, and chastise him, and they shall immerse him in 100 shekels of silver, and give them unto the father of the damsel, because he has brought an evil name upon a virgin of Israel, and she shall be his wife. He may not put her away all his days. But if this thing be true, and the tokens of virginity be not found for the damsel, then they shall bring out the damsel to the door of her father's house, and the men of her city shall stone her with stones, that she die, because she has wrought folly in Israel to play the whore in her father's house. so shalt thou put away evil from among you. If a man be found lying with a woman married to an husband, then they shall both of them die, both the man that lay with the woman and the woman, so shalt thou put away evil from Israel. If a damsel that is a virgin be betrothed to an husband, and a man find her in the city and lie with her, then you shall bring them both out unto the gate of that city, and you shall stone them with stones that they die. The damsel, because she cried not, being in the city, and the man, because he has humbled his neighbor's wife, so you shall put away evil from among you. But if a man find a betrothed damsel in the field, and the man force her and lie with her, then the man only that lay with her shall die. But unto the damsel you shall do nothing. There is in the damsel no sin worthy of death. For as when a man riseth against his neighbor and slayeth him, even so is this matter. For he found her in the field, and the betrothed damsel cried, and there was none to save her. If a man find a damsel that is a virgin, which is not betrothed, and lay hold on her, and lie with her, and they be found, then the man that lay with her shall give unto the damsel's father 50 shekels of silver, and she shall be his wife, because he has humbled her. He may not put her away all his days. A man shall not take his father's wife, nor discover his father's skirt. Any questions? Okay, you got. Is it a mic? Can somebody?
I just got one. Can't. No, it's not. I guess it's just a question. So these laws, like when you were saying about the fruits, right? The hybrids or whatever. Yeah. You're saying you're not committing nobody like sin or whatever, but what are these laws for if they're not to keep in order?
Well, these laws is for order. Understand, these laws are given for a sovereign people that has nobody else in the land that they allow in. So these laws was given for a specific situation. Now the principle of them are all righteous, right? Okay. But this was strictly given for, listen, I'm leading you into a land that I've always loved, and my eyes are always upon that land. This land has become defiled. You're going to go in here and scrape this land, cleanse this land. It said kill all living. And then I think we went through it in Leviticus. It said that you got to let the trees grow for 3 years before you take any fruit off of it. That's how defiled the land was. It said don't even harvest the trees thereof for 3 years. Okay? So it's to cleanse the land. Then once the land is cleansed, now this is what we're going to do. No diverse seeds. Don't do this, and that. So now the principle behind it is, one of the principles behind it is that which Yah has made is good enough. There's no need to desecrate or mix or anything. Yah gave you a seed. Whatever that seed produced in and of itself, that's what you should consume. There's no mixing. Remember, even when he told them to make the altar, he said, don't hewn the altar. Don't take a stone and try to carve it out and make it. So he said, just take the altar. Don't put no carving tool onto it and make that your altar, right? So leave things as they naturally are. So when I say that, it doesn't necessarily pronounce a sin. Like we go into a store and you get a tangelo, which is a tangerine and some kind of melon, right? For you to say, oh, let me try this fruit. I'm not saying that the Bible necessarily pronounces that out. That's a sin because you went and took some, spliced fruit, because hybridization in and of itself can occur naturally, right? It's not GMO either. Hybridization and GMO is two different things. Okay. Now, did they intentionally take these seeds and splice them? Yes, they did. Okay. So I'm not saying, so did that answer your question?
Yeah. Because I know it's hard for us since we messed up. So it's hard for us to, mostly all the fruits that's big selling are the hybrids. Okay. So when we go in the store, you see hybrid fruit.
Without question.
You know what I mean? So that's why I was saying, like, okay, we know the word, right? So that's why I was just asking you, are we going against the word if we know if it's hybrid and we still eat it?
Okay. And I would say if your conscience telling you that, and saying y'all wouldn't have me do that,
don't eat it.
I would say, yeah, you're going against Yah.
Okay.
But explicitly in the word,
yeah,
I would say no.
Okay. Torah.
Right?
Yeah.
What you think about that, Elder? Need a mic? It's another mic. It's a mic right here. Okay.
I'm trying to bring up the Bible verse. Where it talks about if and I'm going to paraphrase. It says, if you think a thing is right to you, then it's right. It was talking about in meat or in foods, and I can't remember what the Bible verse is. So was it Romans? So yeah, consciously, when you understand, as you said, if you know something is hybrid and the Bible speaks against eating certain type of fruit, then it's a sin to you. If you know that, somebody else can go and pick it and think it's a natural fruit. We said the same thing when we talked about fish or animals that die of itself. Remember? Right. So, I mean, in Africa, they probably know. You see something laying on the side, a cow that's dead or something like that. And if you know things died of itself, and you know that, it's a sin to you. But if you go to the market and they got beef or whatever that's cut up, and you didn't know that it died of itself, then it's not a sin to you. But we gotta kind of have a practice of shopping and kind of knowing what we getting, and Yah will lead us because He don't want us to sin. Like, you can go your whole life eating fish that has died of itself, and you didn't know. So Yah will wake us up at some point and say, "Don't you get farm raised, or you get wild caught, or whatever the case may be." So we got to put ourselves in a position that we make the right decision. But it's all about what's in our minds. But whatever is not right that we doing, Yah's gonna give us a revelation on how to move away from that thing, so we won't keep doing it.
Torah. Question or comment? Yes. Oh, go ahead, please. Thank you.
Shalom.
Shalom.
I just saw a question that someone posted in the comments as I was heading in. It's about maybe a chapter back, when you were talking about the abomination of men dressing as women and vice versa. Whoever's online, if you want to say it, the question out loud, I think it said something to the effect about they had a question about women in pants, is the question that they posted.
Torah.
Dang. Okay. So I don't know if y'all can hear. Minister Yosef, please contribute to this. So, I was going to go into that, but I left it alone because nobody asked the question. But now we do have a question on the floor.
Yeah.
Shabbat
Go ahead.
shalom.
Go ahead. If you got a question, unmute. If there's a question online.
Shabbat shalom. This is Sister Carisha. Shabbat shalom to everyone. Yes, it was my question because that's how I was taught when I grew up. And I'm glad that you made an example during the barbershop conversation, which was a little dramatic.
Sister Carisha, if you're talking, we can't hear you, sis.
Oh, okay.
Shalom, Saints. My question was, when I was in the traditional Christian world, they used that verse to say that women can't wear pants because pants are the garment of a man.
Hold on one second, Sister Rodney. Go ahead.
Christian world, they use that verse to say that women can't wear pants because pants are the garment of a man.
Hold on one second. It's like time travel.
Use that verse to say that women can't wear pants because pants are the garment.
Hold on one second.
Sister Carisha, you still there? This is real time. I'm asking you this question. It's
Shabbat shalom.
11:54.
Can you hear
Okay.
me now?
Yes, I can hear
Shabbat
you.
shalom, everyone.
Shabbat
Yes, that
shalom.
was my initial question because, and I guess Sister Ronnie was mentioning it as well, but that's where in prior teachings from a church that I attended when I was younger, and they still do it currently, is that pants was originally was not for females. And then they passed laws later on where it became female pants, but we continued where we were not allowed to wear pants as female clothing. And we'll use this scripture to say it's an abomination for ladies to dress with man garment. And I appreciate your example with the barbershop earlier, which was really dramatic, but it still was some questions around that. So if you can clarify, I appreciate it. Tilda.
Cain, So if we were really to go letter of the law with this, we would first of all have to go back. In the Bible, in Judges, it says we're rehearsing the righteous acts. We looking to restore a thing. Okay, so women were treated different. Things were different. I was at a place where they was trying to tell this woman the same thing, and she was like, "Well, y'all need to not let me work then. I'm getting up on the ladder." She like, "What, a man had to stop me?" She said, "I'm supposed to climb up a ladder on the dress when the dress on." So she was like, "I hear what you're talking about, but I got to go do this work on my building, so on and so forth. So what, a man that's going to allow me to wear a dress every day?" So you see, so now this is a different, we're trying to restore this thing. So you got to understand, if you take any one of these laws in isolation in the vacuum and then try to apply this ancient principle to modern day times and then don't bring the entire culture up with it, it's not going to fit. So we're trying to say women shouldn't wear pants. Okay, well, we need the other things to surround the thing where the woman looks out here and she provided for. You understand what I'm saying? Second of all, we would have to know the dress culture of that time. We would really have to go do some research, go back and see, we think of pants, we thinking of a zipper in the front, this and that. Are there pants that are made? There's pants nowadays that are made specifically for women. You understand what I'm saying? And some of them have, like, for instance, traditional pants, Traditional pants have a zipper in the front. Well, what is that zipper in the front for? Okay, you can say, well, that's for a man. But then you got some pants where the zipper's on the side, okay? So now is that garment with the zipper on the side specifically made for pants for a woman? So can we say, oh, any type of pants in existence is for a man? I can't see that. No, pants, strictly pants, are a woman's garment. I can't see that, no, but I know it's people that would vehemently disagree with me. But what I'm saying is, this one particular commandment, which is a controversy on it, we can't take it in the vacuum. If you're gonna tell a woman that she shouldn't be wearing pants, well, then we got to be practical and create an environment and bring everything else with that. Because now we got women doing things in this culture now that they wouldn't have been doing back then. Women are doing a lot of things that they wouldn't be doing back then. So now go ahead and do these things that a woman is doing that makes it more easier for her when she wearing pants. You put on the dress, bruh. You understand what I'm saying? And well, you can't put on a dress, okay? Well, imagine yourself in a dress trying to do these things. So I can't render a judgment on that. What I would say is we can't just take a law in the vacuum that was given for a time, for a place, for a culture, and then think we can apply a hard body and vilify the women for not doing it or going against it, or a man, whatever it may be. So I don't know if that answered your question, Sister Carisha, or anyone else's, but that's my view on it. All right.
Yeah, we have to get a clear, as you said, you can't come to a conclusion with this in a vacuum. The only thing I can say is when I go and I thought about it, it was an eye opener for me. It was an eye opener for me just now, because even yesterday, my daughter was trying to go to school and she didn't like the pants that she had. And she asked me for some of my joggers. And I wasn't thinking about it. I brought like 9 pair of pants. Now, they were bought as men pants. So she shouldn't be wearing them because they were bought as men pants. There are some pants now that they're in the women's section. If they bought in the women's section, I shouldn't tell my wife, man, I like these. I'm gonna wear these today. So when it comes to the zipper and all that pants, it's something we got to pray on. We got to go deep into it because it's a lot that goes into making those decisions. And so until then, we don't make those rash decisions on what it is that you should wear. I can't say, I don't even want to say that part, but if it's a blouse or it's a shirt, or if it's a summer shirt, if it's a thin that's bought as a women's, then we don't dress that way. But no, that is definitely a topic that we got to really pray and go into. There are some things that Apostle had made a decision on in regards to certain things because it's more complex than what's on the surface.
Okay. Yes. Dr. Tate.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
This has brought up so many more questions for me. At first, I was raising my hand to comment that I appreciate your response, Minister Baruchia, and would continue to highlight. I think a key to understanding or to trying to process the answer to this question is understanding what was considered men's or women's garments at that time. Like, can I find a verse that even refers to pants or trousers in the Bible? Like, what is the concept of that biblically when this information was given to the nation of Israel is first and foremost important. You can't interpret something not in the context in which it was given. So I think that's important. And then number two, as you were sharing your epiphany of sorts, Elder, I was thinking I never would have thought of something of that nature. Like in my mind, when I think about like the abomination of men wearing women's clothing or vice versa, I'm realizing that it's very culturally laden in terms of how I think about it. And thinking about something that like overtly looks like something that a woman or a man would wear. And it's caused me to reflect and think. So as I was, purging my closet of things that weren't 100%, initially I found more clothing stores that have things now, but I had very little things in my closet. And I was looking for like a sweatsuit, like pants and a sweater to wear when I'm on the plane. And I'm looking at all these stores and I'm at the Adidas store and the women's version was mixed, but they had a man's like jogging pants and sweater that was 100%. And it wasn't like overtly looking like, oh, this is for a man to wear or a woman to wear. And so I thought, great, it's 100%. Let me go get this. But now, as you say that, now the thought that's going in my mind is, look, maybe I shouldn't be wearing this. I don't have an answer to it, but maybe I shouldn't because it was something that was created for a man. Maybe I shouldn't wear it, but it's the same like jogger design that they had in the women's section. It's just that one was 100% and the other wasn't. And so it's now this has opened up so many more questions. And I don't want to find myself in a situation, we were, I think Elder Nate was talking last night about King Saul and about him not following what El said and listening to the people. They thought, oh, we're going to take these animals for a sacrifice into the Yehovah. You think you're doing something right. I'm thinking, oh, it's 100%. Praise Yah. But I don't want to think in one principle I'm doing something that I'm supposed to be doing, but then forgetting something else completely. So I look forward to us diving into this some more.
Okay. Questions? Low? All right, let's move forward. We are in, where are we at? Chapter 23, verse 1. He that is wounded in the stones or has his privy member cut off shall not enter into the congregation of the Yehovah. A bastard shall not enter into the congregation of the Yehovah, even to his 10th generation shall he not enter into the congregation of the Yehovah. An Ammonite or a Moabite shall not enter into the congregation of the Yehovah, even to their 10th generation shall they not enter into the congregation of the Yehovah forever, because they met you not with bread and with water in the way when ye came forth out of Egypt, and because they hired against thee Balaam, the son of Beor of Pethor of Mesopotamia, to curse thee. Nevertheless, the Yehovah thy Elohim would not hearken unto Balaam, but the Yehovah thy Elohim turned the curse into a blessing unto thee, because the Yehovah thy Elohim loved thee. You shall not seek their peace nor their prosperity all the days forever. You shall not abhor an Edomite, for he is thy brother. You shall not abhor an Egyptian, because thou wast a stranger in the land. The children that are begotten of them shall enter into the congregation of the Yehovah in their 3rd generation. You got something y'all say? Verse 9. Yes, sir. Microphone check.
Shabbat shalom. Could you elaborate on 7?
Verse 7. You shall not abhor an Edomite, for he is thy brother. You shall not abhor an Egyptian, because thou was a stranger in the land. You see that, Minister Yosef? Can you help us, please? Please.
As far as
you know how they say Esau is not our brother,
right?
Okay, that's what I was.
So, and I think I had made mention of this before. I don't know if it was about a week or so ago, but the Bible, it said that Edom is their brother. That's what it said. It never, so when it comes, you stick with what the Bible says. So Edom is, because that was Jacob's twin. And I mean, yeah. Edom is Esau. But the Bible, the people in the world, a select people in the world, have put a face on Esau. And they shouldn't have never did that because it's not scriptural. So since it's not scriptural, technically it doesn't exist. It's a social construct because that's what they constructed. So
Cain, understand this too, saints. Y'all not leaving any room in our heart to hate nobody that's in the world, to judge anyone. Because remember, he plucked us out of the world and cleaned us up, right? He plucked Abraham and made a people out of Abraham, based on his perfect will and the state of Abraham's heart. But Abraham was a pagan. Abraham was this and that. Abraham was an Egyptian. Abraham, not, so to speak, had other practices that was outside the will of Yah when he grabbed Abraham. So now that we've been cleaned up, don't look back and be like those dirty Egyptians, those nasty Edomites. No, our job is to actually minister to them, to show them that they out of the way, to bring them and reconcile them unto righteousness and hopefully everlasting life. So it's no room anywhere for us to look on anybody and judge them. And so we say, don't abhor Edomite, even though Edomites do some things. And you shall not abhor an Egyptian. You was a stranger in that land before, okay?
So when he's saying, because thou shalt not abhor an Egyptian because thou was a stranger in this land. So we was abhorred in the land of Egypt. So Yah is saying, listen, don't you do that very same thing that they did to you. And because we got to remember where we came from.
Look, and I'll show you guys mercy on this, because look, verse 3 says, an Ammonite or a Moabite shall not enter into the congregation of the Yehovah, even to their 10th generation shall they not enter into the congregation of the Yehovah. Now, will y'all go against itself? Ruth, what was Ruth?
A Moabite.
Ruth was a Moabite, okay? Now, Ruth is in the lineage of Mashikah. She's a foreparent. She's King Dawid's great-great-great-grandmother, whichever great that is. But it just says right here that a Moabite not even supposed to be amongst the people. You understand what I'm saying? This is a spiritual lineage. It's not a genetic lineage. Though it became one, supersedes everything is the conduct and the state of your heart. The state of your heart determines whether you are in a covenant relationship with El. And it's been evidence it's going deeper, but when El give you a new mind, a new heart, it's a change in your DNA. Okay? So no matter what you may appear to be, you may not be what Yah is making you into. All right.
Questions?
Yes.
Shabbat shalom, everybody. This is kind of in conjunction to something we said earlier too, but so I'm trying to understand, what is the extent of forgiveness as far as Yisrael goes? Because if we're supposed to be extending grace to our enemies, we're supposed to do good to people that do wrong to us, we're supposed to do all these things. At what point are we supposed to say, hey, listen, you went against me exactly too many times, and it's time to separate from this person or this thing? Like, how are we supposed to manage that if we're supposed to be so forgiving and loving?
Okay, great question. So understand what forgiveness and unforgiveness looks like. Remember, whenever we're dealing with these situations, we're dealing with the state of your heart. Okay? So just because you separate, you can forgive somebody and still say you can't be in my presence. So just because you cast somebody from your presence or you separate yourself from them for a period of time, right? If not forever, right? And by separate, meaning you got to understand the separation is, okay, you've offended me one too many times. You've shown how your character is. I must separate myself from you, but you still have to forgive them in your heart. And the evidence of that forgiveness will be, though you separate yourself, if you see your brother or your sister's ox that you separated from, that's going astray, it gave a commandment, you still fulfill that commandment. Grab that person's ox and return it unto them. That's the forgiveness, instead of just saying, oh no. So how many times what's the extent of forgiveness? Is infinite. There is no extent, because we have to consider ourselves. How many times have we asked for forgiveness and then did the same transgression again, and then came back and asked for forgiveness again, and then did the same transgression again, and then came back and did the same and did the same and did the same and did the remix and so right. So there is no extent. He said, "How many times shall I forgive my brother? 70 times 7." He said that sinned against me, and he was talking about in one day. He said in a day. Okay, did it say in a day?
I don't know if it's
I'm remixing. Okay, forgive me. Hold on, somebody gonna have to get it. All right, forgive me. All right, I'm sorry.
And I'm gonna add that it's easier. It's easier said than done. But what we have to realize is that, like Minister Baruch, I said, we can forgive and keep moving, but just because we forgive and we let it go, that don't mean, even if we're not as close as we once was, even if we're not friends, we still have an obligation to forgive. Because if we don't forgive, then El can't forgive us. So that's something that we got to always remember. And if you ever catch yourself constantly bringing something up, finding a fault or a reason or something about a particular person or something like that, then you should know you haven't forgiven yet, because you are continuously bringing something up, because that's what the enemy do. He's an accuser. And when you keep bringing that thing up, bringing it up, trying to find fault, trying to find an issue in this person or that particular thing, you're allowing it to consume you. And when it begins to consume you, it has it got your heart. And now you haven't forgiven. And then we got to realize, but like he said, look at what El did for us and forgave us, and look at how many times we forgive ourselves quick. Oh man, I messed up. Okay, I'm gonna get back up. I'm gonna do it again. You forgave yourself. So that's when he said, love yourself as you love your neighbor. As quick as you will to forgive yourself, that's how we should be willing to forgive the next person, even though it may be a hard thing for our flesh. But we got to be mindful of that. And that came from Leviticus 19 on how we love our neighbor as we love ourselves, and that forgive them the same way we was quick to forgive ourselves.
Elder Al.
No, I wasn't gonna say you guys a question, but I just want to say, y'all, everything that happens, y'all's working. We don't understand and we don't see what y'all's doing. And when we talk about abhor, the person who can minister to the drug user the best is the person that might have been the drug user before, right? So we don't want to come out of that thing we were in and then we kind of turn our nose up at somebody else. Now, we got to also use wisdom. If I stick my head through the window, my buddy window, hey, Johnny, smack, he smacked me. Next day, hey, Johnny, smack, he smacked me. At some point, I'm gonna stop sticking my head through the window, start waving at Johnny, right? So we got to use wisdom, but don't let hate enter in. You just move different. I deal with you different. Like, we think because we were best friends and I called you every day, now I'm not calling you every day, that's what the Bible's talking about. I'm not going to call you. I mean, if you curse me, I'm not calling you every day. I'm not checking on you. So we just got to move different, but we got to reposition ourselves. Don't let our heart or hate enter into our heart, because that's really what it is. And so this is why the Bible tells, and we don't know again what Yah is doing, what people, and we don't want to disturb his pattern, right? So we got to be obedient to what that word says because Yah is moving, he's doing things. So,
okay. So no limit to forgiveness. There's no limit. No, not 70 times 7. That's part of enduring to the end. You have to always forgive as difficult as it is. Yes, sir.
Can you add more clarity to the difference between the Amorite, the Moabite, that right there, and a stranger and a heathen in regard to who's allowed in the house?
Okay, so he gives the instructions. All right, so Ammon and Moab, those two nations came, those were Lot's daughters went in and slept with Lot and they got impregnated. And that's where the two nations, the Ammonites and the Moabites, came from, those two nations. Now, he's not condemning for that, but it's something to that also. But he explains, he says in verse 4, because they met you not with bread and water in the way when they was in the wilderness passing through, when you came forth out of Egypt, and they hired against you, they tried to hire Balaam to curse you. So that's what he got against the Ammonite and the Moabite specifically. And then as far as the stranger, is that what you said, a stranger? I don't see what he's saying, stranger, but the Edomite, Minister Joseph explained that, in the Egyptian or any foreigner, he's just saying there's no room for you to look upon a foreigner in any simple way because you once were a foreigner. At some point, we all were a foreigner to the culture of the Yehovah, okay? Even the father of the faith, so to speak, Abraham, he was a foreigner, but y'all still took him in, adopted him, and did that. So we have no right, if we're going to have a heart and mind of Mashiach, to look on a foreigner and look at them like, y'all do that, y'all do that. No, we're supposed to have that thing that could possibly convert them. That answer the question? All right, Torah. I know we spend a lot of time, but these are good questions. All right. I forgot where we was at. Where we at?
I think you're in verse 8.
23.
23? Yeah, it's 8.
Yeah, verse 9 came. Oh, 8, yes, sir. Then Deuteronomy 23 and 8. The children that are begotten of them shall enter into the congregation of the Yehovah in their third generation. Talking about the Edomites, the Egyptians, and the stranger. When the host goeth forth against thy enemies, then keep thee from every wicked thing. If there be among you any man that is not clean by reason of uncleanness that chanceth him by night, then shall he go abroad out of the camp, he shall not come within the camp. But it shall be when evening cometh on, he shall wash himself with water, and when the sun is down, he shall come into the camp again. You shall have a place also without the camp, outside the camp, whither thou shalt go forth abroad. And you shall have a paddle upon thy weapon, and it shall be when thou wilt ease thyself abroad, you shall dig therewith, and shall turn back and cover that which cometh from thee. For the Yehovah thy Elohim walketh in the midst of thy camp to deliver thee and to give up thy enemies before thee. Therefore shall thy camp be holy, that he see no unclean thing in thee and turn away from thee. All right, very important. I got to talk about this. So this on the individual basis also. So it's about keeping your vessel clean, our life clean. It says when you going forth to war against thy enemy, then keep thyself from every wicked thing. In order to put ourselves in all favor, the Bible says we war not against flesh and blood, right? But against powers and principalities of darkness and high places, paraphrasing, right? So we constantly at war, right? So the spiritual principle is, while we are in the war path, whatever we're warned against, keep yourself from every wicked thing, right? So you do that on your individual basis. And then as a congregation, when we coming together, we have an obligation to each other to keep ourselves from a wicked thing. And then it says, if you know you're unclean, then separate yourself from the people, because one person can sink a ship. Because you unclean and I don't know you unclean. I don't know your lifestyle or what you are doing. Like, have mercy on me, have love on me and the saints, and love for El to say, you know what? Like when Moses said when they was going to war, is anybody scared? If you scared, go ahead and stay home. Look, if you unclean, go ahead and go somewhere. We at war. We trying to go somewhere. He just gave the provision for that. it says, if there be any among you that is not clean by reason of an uncleanness that chanceth him by night, then he shall go abroad out of the camp. Don't come within the camp. We on a mission. Go on somewhere. You still our brother. You still our sister, but go on somewhere so we can get this victory. And then come on back in, we can restore you. It says, you shall have a place without the camp, whither you shall go forth abroad. And you shall have a paddle upon thy weapon. It shall be when you ease yourself abroad, you shall dig therewith and shall turn back and cover that which cometh from thee. This the point. The Yehovah thy Elohim, he walketh in the midst of the camp to deliver us, to give us the victory, and to give up the enemies before us, that we win over our enemies. Therefore our camp shall be holy, that we see no unclean thing in thee and turn away from us. We don't want y'all turning away from us. So keep our camp clean, keep our vessel clean, keep our lifestyle clean. If you know you're not unclean, separate yourself. We at war. Okay? Yes, sir.
Okay, so anybody can answer this. So Minister Baruchia, so you saying if I'm unclean, right?
Okay.
Don't come to the temple until so how I'm gonna heal if I don't come to the temple?
Okay.
No, but when he explained it, he wasn't talking about ceremonial clean, he was talking about unclean spirits.
Okay. All right, you took it to another level.
No,
that's a good question.
Yeah,
I'm just going to try to deal with it succinctly as possible to move forward. I was really giving a spiritual thing.
Yeah,
you gave a practical.
No, some are spiritual too.
Okay.
Yeah, so but what you said, if your spirit is unclean, don't come around until you be clean. So how my spirit gonna get cleaned up if I don't go come around people that's like-minded?
Okay, well, this is the thing then. If you dwell in unclean and it's a secret we don't know about it, then we can't help you then.
Okay, but you got you saying if you know. You got, okay.
So it's like say I'm playing on the basketball team,
okay.
Right? we're supposed to work out personally, right?
Okay.
And so we got instructions. We work out together, but we got instructions of what we supposed to do. For 30 days, we were supposed to do this.
Okay.
Now, I ain't did nan thing.
Okay.
But we come into the huddle like, okay. Now I'm looking at all my brothers knowing that they did the same thing I did.
Okay.
Like, y'all been on a regimen for 30 days, and there's one brother in there knowing his mind is high, he ain't did nothing. Why don't you have mercy and love on the team and be like, look, y'all, I'm gonna sit this one out.
Okay,
because I ain't did nothing.
Okay.
And then go on here somewhere, you know, and then adhere to the instructions. How they gonna get help? You got the word. Take the word. And then thank you for revealing yourself to your brother, and then we'll come help you. But if you're gonna stay in the camp and keep it a secret, and we ain't gonna discover it till you keep fumbling the ball and you fall down and you tied in the first quarter, and then we looking at you like, but now we lost because you know what I'm saying? We had to struggle because you turned over the ball and you ain't doing your thing. You lost, bro. You could have been told us that, sis. You could have been told us that, and we could have restored you. Now we had to suffer a loss.
Okay. So yeah.
Now,
okay.
But keep in mind the context of what he was just reading was dealing with something natural, and it was dealing with something discharges from our body. Even talked about a person having bowel movement and or whatever. He, you know, so right. I think he gave an analogy to kind of compare them. Yeah.
Well, listen, anything that's practical got a spiritual principle underline it. It's all spiritual. Say, if there be any among you, verse 10, if there be any among you any man that is not clean by reason of uncleanness that chanceth him by night, any uncleanness that chanceth him by night, that could have been okay, that could be anything that'll cause you to be unclean. What it's saying is, y'all finna, this is what it's saying, y'all's about to go, he talking about we getting ready to go to war now. We need the victory. Y'all's finna go through the camp and look for any uncleanness. No uncleanness in the camp. Y'all win. Uncleanness in the camp, before we go, y'all need to purge that uncleanness. But if it's any uncleanness in the camp, you compromising yourself where you can depend on Yah to have your back to give you the victory. Now you're fighting without his provision, okay? All right. Yes, ma'am.
I'll be very brief because time is far spent. I was just going to say the other context was what you just mentioned is this is surrounding Yisrael going into battle or doing some kind of thing or task together that requires y'all to support them and help them, not just like everyday life, right? Like when you're talking about being, to your point about coming around, if you are in a place where you need support and being uplifted from your brothers and sisters, that can happen anytime, any day of the week. It can happen, you know, any Shabbat Yom. But when war is happening, go ahead and sit down until the situation is solved, you know? And so I think that even from that spiritual context, there's still, that's still relevant.
All right, we get ready to go into the auctioneers. We got started a little bit late, but we're going into the auctioneer reading now. So, hold questions, please. If it's a pertinent question that you have, ask the question. We don't want to restrict questions, but please hold all comments. All right. And we're off. All right. 23 and 15, thou shalt not deliver unto his master the servant which is escaped from his master unto thee. He shall dwell with thee even among you in that place which he shall choose in one of thy gates, where it liketh him best. You shall not oppress him. There shall be no whore of the daughters of Israel, nor a sodomite of the sons of Israel. You shall not bring the hire of a whore or the price of a dog into the house of the Yehovah thy Elohim for any vow, for even both of these are abominations unto the Yehovah thy Elohim. I got to deal with that real quick. It was something when it says don't bring the price or hire of a whore. So there was things called in the other nations, they used to have temple prostitutes, so to speak, male and females. So when it's saying the hire of a whore, you know, we always relate this to a woman whore, but there's men whores too. And when it says the price of a dog, that's talking about a man whore. So don't bring something that you've gotten from your whorism, your pimping, as a vow to bring to the temple, because other nations did that, right? They brought ill-gotten gain or stuff that they got illicitly that's dirty and brought it and gave it as a vow unto the gods they was worshiping. Don't do ill like that. 19, you shall not lend upon usury to your brother. Usury is interest, right? Charging interest. Usury of money, usury of victuals, usury of anything that is lent upon usury. Unto a stranger you mayest lend upon usury, but unto thy brother you shall not lend upon usury, that the Yehovah thy Elohim may bless thee in all that thou settest thine hand to in the land whither thou goest to possess it. When you shall vow a vow unto the Yehovah thy Elohim, you shall not slack to pay it, for the Yehovah thy Elohim will surely require it of thee, and it will be sin in thee. But if thou shalt forbear to vow, it shall be no sin in thee. That which is going out of thy lips thou shalt keep and perform, even a freewill offering according as thou hast vowed unto the Yehovah thy Elohim, which thou hast promised with thy mouth. When you come into thy neighbor's vineyard, then you may eat grapes thy field at thine own pleasure, but you shall not put any in thy vessel. When thou comest into the standing corn of thy neighbor, then thou mayest pluck the ears with thine hand, but you shall not move a sickle into thy neighbor's standing corn. Chapter 24, when a man has taken a wife and married her, and it come to pass that she find no favor in his eyes because he has found some uncleanness in her, then let him write her a bill of divorcement and give it into her hand and send her out of his house. And when she is departed out of his house, she may go and be another man's wife. And if the latter husband hate her and write her a bill of divorcement and giveth it in her hand and sendeth her out of his house, or if the latter husband die which took her to be his wife, her former husband which sent her away may not take her again to be his wife after that she is defiled, for that is an abomination before the Yehovah, and you shall not cause the land to sin which the Yehovah thy Elohim giveth thee for an inheritance. When a man has taken a new wife, he shall not go out to war, neither shall he be charged with any business, but he shall be free at home 1 year, and shall cheer up his wife which he has taken. No man shall take the nether or upper millstone to pledge, for he taketh the man's life to pledge. If a man be found stealing any of his brethren of the children of Israel, and maketh merchandise of him, or selleth him, then that thief shall die, and you shall put evil away from among you. Take heed in the plague of leprosy, that you observe diligently and do according to all that the priest, the Levite, shall teach you, as I commanded them, so you shall observe to do. Remember what the Yehovah thy Elohim did unto Miriam by the way, after that ye were come forth out of Egypt. When thou dost lend thy brother anything, thou shalt not go into his house to fetch his pledge. You shall not stand abroad, and thou shalt stand abroad, and the man to whom thou dost lend shall bring out the pledge abroad unto thee. And if the man be poor, you shall not sleep with his pledge. In any case, you shall deliver him the pledge again when the sun goeth down, that he may sleep in his own raiment and bless thee, and it shall be righteousness unto thee. before the Yehovah thy Elohim. You shall not oppress and hire servant that is poor and needy, whether he be of thy brethren or of thy strangers that are in thy land within thy gates. At his day you shall give him his hire, neither shall the sun go down upon it, for he is poor and setteth his heart upon it, lest he cry against thee unto the Yehovah, and it be sin unto thee. The father shall not be put to death for the children, neither shall the children be put to death for the fathers. Every man shall be put to death for his own sin. You shall not pervert the judgment of the stranger, nor of the fatherless, nor take a widow's raiment to pledge. But thou shalt remember that thou wast a bondman in Egypt, and that Yehovah thy Elohim redeemed thee thence. Therefore I command thee to do this thing. When thou cuttest down thine harvest in thy field, and hast forgot a sheaf in the field, you shall not go again to fetch it. It shall be for the stranger, for the fatherless, and for the widow, for that the Yehovah thy Elohim may bless thee in all the works of thy hands. When thou beatest thine olive tree, thou shalt not go over the bowls again. It shall be for the stranger, for the fatherless, and for the widow. When thou gatherest the grapes of thy vineyard, you shall not glean it afterward. It shall be for the stranger, for the fatherless, and for the widow. And you shall remember that thou wast a bondman in the land of Egypt. Therefore I command thee to do this thing. You got something that you'll say?
Just real quick. In verse 16, verse 24:16, just a heads up, some people, so you can be, I guess, aware. You have a lot of so-called people claiming that they Israel who don't believe in Mashiach, and they'll use this verse to say that there's no way that it said the father shall not be put to death for the children, neither shall the children be put to death for the fathers. Every man shall be put to death for his own sin. So they're saying that God would never send his son to die for our sins. And they'll use this Bible verse. And to deal with that, the best way to deal with it is to realize that, right, every man shall be put to death for his own sins. And just know that Mashiach was not a man. So this is how we deal with that. Mashiach, since he was not a man, he don't fit in here. And and the so-called people who do use that Bible verse, they won't be able to deny, because they know El is not a man. Because they call themselves Torah or Old Testament only. So just keep that in mind, because for a person that's weak, I can see them struggling with this real bad. So, yep.
Okay. Chapter 25. Verse 1, if there be a controversy between men, and they come unto judgment, that the judges may judge them, then they shall justify the righteous and condemn the wicked. And it shall be, if the wicked man be worthy to be beaten, that the judge shall cause him to lie down and to be beaten before his face, according to his fault, by a certain number. 40 stripes he may give him, and not exceed, lest if he should exceed and beat him above these with many stripes, then thy brother should seem violent to thee. You shall not muzzle the ox when he treadeth out the corn. If brethren dwell together, and one of them die and have no child, the wife of the dead shall not marry without unto a stranger. Her husband's brothers shall go in unto her, and take her to him to wife, and perform the duty of an husband's brother unto her. And it shall be that the firstborn which she beareth shall succeed in the name of his brother which is dead, that his name be not put out of Israel. And if the man like not to take his brother's wife, then let his brother's wife go up to the gate unto the elders, and say, my husband's brother refuseth to raise up until his brother a name in Israel. He will not perform the duty of my husband's brother. Then the elders of his city shall call him and speak unto him. And if he stand to do it, and say, I like not to take her, then shall his brother's wife come unto him in the presence of the elders, and loose his shoe from off his foot, and spit in his face, and shall answer and say, so shall it be done unto that man that will not build up his brother's house. And his name shall be called in Israel the house of him that hath his shoe loose. So let me say this. You see how you have to bring, now we're talking about pants, right? Okay, here's another one. Let's practice this. Okay. Your brother's wife, your brother died, and now you're supposed to take his wife. And first of all, is she going for that? Maybe, maybe not. But then you're supposed to raise up the seed that she have unto his name. Now that's not literally your son. You still an uncle, so that his name, but you have to bring, this was about land inheritance. Remember, the land was divided up. each tribe had a parcel of land, and then within that parcel of land, it was divided up amongst however they was doing it. And so his name won't be put out. Is that what we live in today? So when you can't take anything in a vacuum, you would have to, in order for this is a commandment, Cain. So are we supposed to do this? You would have to take the whole culture and bring it to today and have everything to apply this. It's much like that with everything. So we have to use wisdom and discernment when we're using these laws, Cain, and try to get the underlying principle, not just the practical action. Verse 9, then showed his brother's wife, okay, spit in his face. Can you imagine the sister doing that now? You're not going to have my husband, baby. You know what you're supposed to do. You're not going to do that? And take your shoe off. Okay, it don't fit. All right, and his name shall be called in Israel, the house of him that has his shoe loose. And now that's your name. That's the house of dude that got his shoe loose. You can't come in the congregation unless your shoes untied. When men strive together one with another, and the wife of the one draweth near for to deliver her husband out of the hand of him that smiteth him, and put forth her hand, and taking him out of secrets, then you shall cut off her hand, thine eye shall not pity her. Thou shalt not have in thy bag divers weights, and a great and a small. You shall not have in thy house divers measures, a great and a small, but you shall have a perfect and just weight, a perfect and just measure shall thou have, that thy days may be lengthened in the land which the Yehovah thy Elohim giveth thee. For all that do such things and all that do unrighteously are an abomination to the Yehovah thy Elohim. Remember what Amalek did unto thee by the way when ye were come forth out of Egypt, how he met thee by the way and smote the hindmost of thee, even all that were feeble behind thee, when thou wast faint and weary, and he feared not ill. Therefore it shall be when the Yehovah thy Elohim has given thee rest from all thy enemies round about in the land which the Yehovah thy Elohim giveth thee for an inheritance to possess it, that thou shalt blot out the remembrance of Amalek from under heaven, thou shalt not forget. All right. Any questions on that? Low? All right, we're turning to these next two portions are short. Isaiah chapter 54.
Isaiah 54, verses 1 through 10. And it says, sing, O barren, thou that didst not bear, break forth into singing and cry aloud, thou that didst not travail with child. For more are the children of the desolate than the children of the married wife, says the Yehovah. Enlarge the place of thy tent, and let them stretch forth the curtains of thine habitations. Spare not, lengthen thy cords, and strengthen it thy stakes. For thou shalt break forth on the right hand and on the left. And thy seed shall inherit the Gentiles, and make the desolate cities to be inhabited. Fear not, for thou shalt not be ashamed, neither be thou confounded, for thou shalt not be put to shame, for thou shalt forget the shame of thy youth, and shall not remember the reproach of thy widowhood any more. For thy maker is thine husband, the Yehovah of hosts is his name, and thy Redeemer, the Holy One of Yisrael, the Elohim of the whole earth shall he be called. For the Yehovah has called thee as a woman forsaken and grieved in spirit, and a wife of youth. When thou wast refused, said thy Elohim, for a small moment have I forsaken thee, but with great mercies will I gather thee. In a little wrath I hid my face from thee for a moment, but with everlasting kindness will I have mercy on thee, says the Yehovah thy Redeemer. For this is as the waters of Noah unto me. For as I have sworn that the waters of Noah should no more go over the earth, so have I sworn that I would not be wroth with thee, nor rebuke thee. For the mountains shall depart and the hills be removed, but my kindness shall not depart from thee, neither shall the covenant of my peace be removed, says the Yehovah that has mercy on thee.
Torah.
Nah, I ain't going. We're going to Matthew chapter 24, and it's 29 through 32. So it's short as well. And it says, immediately after the tribulation of those days shall the sun be darkened, and the moon shall not give her light, and the stars shall fall from heaven, and the powers of the heavens shall be shaken. And then shall appear the sign of the Son of Man in heaven. And then shall all the tribes of the earth mourn, and they shall see the Son of Man coming in the clouds of heaven with power and great glory. And he shall send his angels with a great sound of a trumpet, and they shall gather together his elect from the four winds, from one end of heaven to the other. Now learn a parable of the fig tree. When the branch is yet tender and putteth forth leaves, ye know that summer is nigh. So likewise, when ye shall see all these things, know that it is near, even at the doors. Verily I say unto you, this generation shall not pass till all these things be fulfilled. Heaven and earth shall pass away, but my words shall not pass away. But of that day and hour knoweth no man, no, not the angels of heaven, but my Father only. But as the days of Noah were, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. For as the days that were before the flood, they were eating and drinking, marrying and giving in marriage until the day that Noah entered into the ark, and knew not until the flood came and took them all away. So shall the coming of the Son of Man be. Then shall two be in the field, the one shall be taken, and the other left. Two women shall be grinding in the mill, the one shall be taken, and the other left. Watch therefore, for ye know not what hour the Adonai doth come.
Okay. What you got on that?
Where were they taken? What was the one? One was in the field, one was grinding, one was one was taken and one was grinding. What was they taken to? They was raptured away. Where were they taken? No. No, I was just joking with it, but it is the Christian. Some people in Christianity say that the rapture, that they were taken away. But if you look in another Bible verse, I think it's Luke, it says that where those bodies were, that's where the eagles were gathered. So that was talking about judgment. So if those eagles are vultures, so if they eating away at a body, that means that all of that was tribulation concerning the end time when Mashiach comes back and so forth. So they was not taken to heaven.
Okay. So this is obviously watch therefore, for you know not what hour your hold up come. When it says watch and pray, that means be circumspect in everything that we're doing. And it said, if you remember when it said in the days of Noah, like what's going on now, it says the parable of the fig tree, the elect, he said he's gonna gather his elect. Well, the elect are supposed to understand and see the signs, even though we know not when he's coming. You see the signs to know that it is near. So you should always be tight, but then there's levels to tightness. You can, no matter how tight we are, you can tighten up some more, like tighten up some more, and watch and pray, because what we getting ready to enter into, they think that the things that they are doing is supposed to make life more convenient and have abundance. They're trying to sell it that's going to make it easier for mankind to have those things that are needful, right? And the world is going to be moving and moving and moving. And then the more that you in the world, it's going to be very difficult to know the difference between reality and reality, or the truth and reality. Because I know y'all have seen it. They'll post some things and it's all fiction, but if you saw it with your eyes, your people are saying it like it's real. So it's going to be very, very difficult going forward to know what's real and what's not real. The best thing to do is just stay separated, so you don't even got to go through that mind confusion, like that was real, this is that. And the only way that you can watch is to not be distracted in your mind and understand how the mind works. Whatever your mind and your subconscious is thinking about is something that you allowed in there. You either watched it or you talked about it. So try to keep your conversations, your consumption, your reading on the things that are of ale, so that your mind can be constantly going over those, and you can have a discernment and understand the parable of the fig tree. When you see something, you can discern what's going on and know how to move.
Man.
All right. Any more questions? Yes, sir. Isaiah 1:24. Okay. Okay, that was Matthew, but we was in Isaiah 54:1. Yes, sir. You got a mic? Get that brother a mic.
Isaiah 54:1.
Yes.
Could y'all expound on it a little bit for me?
The one that says, "Sing, O barren that didst not bear."
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is talking about Israel.
Okay.
So this is saying he's getting ready to restore them. So when it says, "Sing, O barren that didst not bear, break forth into singing and cry aloud, thou that didst not travail with child. For more are the children of the desolate than the children of the married wife, said Jehovah. Enlarge the place of your tent." So he said he's getting ready to bring you from a desolate place. So you remember, for a woman who couldn't have a child, that's a very sorrowful thing,
Okay.
especially in ancient culture. I'm sure it's a sorrowful thing now for a woman that desires to have children. And so he's saying, now that you couldn't have children, he say, now that you were barren, he say, break forth into singing and cry loud, because now you're getting ready to expand your territory and you're getting ready to bring forth children now.
Oh, okay.
The woman that was barren is now going to bring forth more children. It says, for more are the children of the desolate than the children of the married wife. So you're going to outdo the Gentiles now. You understand what I'm saying? Because your husband, you getting ready to be joined back to El, who is your husband, and y'all getting ready to bear fruit and bring forth children. Though you were desolate before,
Okay.
now sing and cry aloud, because you're getting ready to be in a larger territory, because you're getting ready to bring forth fruit.
Yeah,
Many
totally.
kids.
Yeah. I see. I took that the opposite way. I'm glad you explained that, because I took it as what the world we live in today is more single mothers than it is married. See what I'm saying? So thank you for that, because that was my mind.
That's true.
Gang. But see, that's what, was this referring to that?
Well, you can refer to that.
Okay.
Spiritual. So you could say, more are the children in the world brought forth in the way that y'all wouldn't have it brought forth than it is children in the world that's being brought forth the way y'all would have them being brought forth, being raised the way y'all would have them raised.
Totally. Yeah.
Our parents in the caring community learning the laws of the Jehovah from the beginning, as opposed to people who are coming up in broken situations, broken homes, and learning the ways of the world before they even hear about El.
Okay, totally. Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
You get a chance, read Galatians chapter 4, verse 27. That's a quote from Paul, because he made mention of that, but he was talking to the church then and bringing them in, and he used that Bible verse to show that analogy, like it was more of the ones. It was more of the ones that were not of El than it was of El. And so if you get a chance, just read. If you read through it, but read the whole chapter. That just shows you Paul, how he was never against the law. He was always quoting something from there.
All right, Kane, Todia. That was fun. We're going to do something new here. We're going to close with a congregational song. All right. You ready? No. Huh? No, all right. Y'all don't take me seriously. So I was ready, and then Sister Constance laughing at me. You know I'm shy. That's okay. Now, next time. Okay, Kane, I need some lessons. All right, we're going to close in prayer. Heavenly Av, precious Yah in heaven, gracious Av in earth, we love you so much. We bless you so much. We bless your precious shame. We thank you for your word that went forth. Thank you for shaping us and molding us, Father, and perfecting us, working on us inwardly and outwardly. Thank you for making your word simple, breaking it down to us in bits and pieces. That what you've given us understanding, Father. Cause your word to resonate in our heart and our mind, to go over it and over it and over it again, and give us a heart, Father, flesh, Father, a willing heart, a heart to serve you, Yah, by serving others, Father. So we just thank you for the Torah portion. We thank you for preserving your word, your engrafted word, for such a time as this. These words, thousands and thousands and thousands of years old, Father, but they relevant, they're eternal, when you preserve them, that we can read them right now. So we're glad about that, Father. We're glad that you have an appointed time for us to come and learn of your word, to hear your word, Father, to be hearers of your word and doers of your word. So thank you for the Shabbat Yom, Father, that you prescribe. this appointed time we can meet you, Father, and learn of you and behold your beauty and inquire and fellowship and love on each other. And thank you for delivering us here safely. We pray all the saints that are pressing their way right now, Father. Protect them on the roadways, Father. Protect our homes, our vehicles while we're absent from them, Father. And just cause us, Father, to joy in the Shabbat and just we're grateful, y'all. So we just thank you for the word that went forth. We thank you for blessing the Shabbat college that's going forth. We thank you for the elders. We thank you for the ministers. We thank you for the saints, the laymen, all the children and women, from the youngest, Father, to the oldest. We just bless your holy shame, and we serve you, Father, for the joy and abundance, for the gratefulness and abundance of all things. And we pray in the mighty and precious shame of Yahshua Mashiach, Hallelujah, Amen. Shabbat is a delight. Yeah. I woke up